All right, guys. So maybe you've heard about this. This is a post on Facebook from DJ Envy. It says, gospel legend Bishop Marvin Sapp is teaming up with Roc Nation for the first time, with Jay-Z's company set to distribute his upcoming album, Restoration. The project, Sapp's 17th studio album, is expected this fall, while the lead single, He's Not Finished, drops on August 21st. This is a problem because Jay-Z is anti-Christ. It says, Hail Mary to the city, you're a virgin, and Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. And here's a post on Threads where someone's trying to figure out what Jay-Z meant exactly when he said this. It says, so when Jay-Z says Jesus can't save you, life starts when the church ends, an Empire State of Mind, what do you think he meant? A, you can reach these hands after church. Jesus can't save you in the streets. B, literal. C, a combination of both. And then there's a few different comments, obviously. One says, it's not like he's a believer or follower of the Christian faith. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a Satanist. Most obviously, he said the church, not church. The church is to be persecuted by Antichrist and its followers at some point. Ending the church would be his goal. It's also not strange that they often use statements that can mean more than one thing to create questions like this when referring to Jesus, the Bible, or anything godly. And so here's the thing, with this being the type of thing that Jay-Z does, he's also wears merch that says, do as thou wilt. With this being the type of reputation that Jay-Z has, one would question why Marvin Sapp, of all people, would team up with him to do his distribution. There's plenty of other Christian artists that you can get a distribution deal from. For an example, and I'm not saying that I condone this or, I disagree with it one way or another, Lecrae gave 2819 a record deal. Why couldn't Marvin Sapp do his distribution through Lecrae's records? Now, maybe it's not a big enough deal. Let's see if we can find some details on this. Okay, so these are the details around Marvin Sapp's distribution. It says Marvin Sapp signed a new partnership with Roc Nation Distribution to release his upcoming 17th studio album, Restoration. This deal marks a major milestone as the platform's first full-length gospel album release. Of course, it's the first full-length gospel album release because Roc Nation isn't a gospel record label. There should be no one, and I mean no one, that calls himself a Christian partnering with Jay-Z, getting any kind of deals from them. Now, the album is called Restoration. It's Sapp's 17th overall project and 9th live recording. The lead single, He's Not Finished, is scheduled for release on August 21st, and the album release window stated to arrive in the fall. The partnership highlights about this is a full circle moment. Sapp noted the collaboration feels like a milestone, linking back to his long-standing journey in contemporary gospel. How is that a full circle moment? How is partnering with a secular demonic record label full circle at all? That makes no sense. And then the mainstream expansion. The move places a foundational gospel powerhouse into a mainstream distribution network aiming to expand the global reach of his ministry.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, so-called gospel singer Marvin Sapp has partnered up with rapper Jay-Z and Roc Nation for a new music deal. Now, Jay-Z has had some blasphemous lyrics about God, but Marvin Sapp still sees fit to team up with Jay-Z. Now, I think one of the many reasons why many people don't take so-called Christians serious is a reason like this. Now, despite it being some real Christians out here, many people look at one and deem them all the same. Now, how can someone who claims to be a Christian partner up with a known blasphemer? Let me know. I'm out.
Now, what that brother said in this video was actually very true. How can Marvin Sapp, who's supposed to be a gospel powerhouse, also supposed to be a pastor, team up with somebody that's so against what our faith is built upon, which is Jesus Christ? Not only that, but we know that Marvin Sapp's been in the media within the past year over the close the doors. There's $10,000 in the room. I know I'm going to get this money. And it's just, I think that we have to be careful about these partnerships because there's nothing good that can come from this except for Jay-Z and Marvin Sapp. They're going to monopolize on this. They're going to make a lot of money off this. And then people that have been listening to Marvin Sapp their entire life or whatever, that know that he's got 16 previous albums, they're going to be like, oh, Marvin Sapp, man, he put out a new album, and they're not even going to understand that it came from a deal with Roc Nation. Right, because most people aren't checking for this sort of thing. Most people, they don't really look to see who does any of the back end sort of thing when it comes to music or production or things like that. And a lot of Christians listen to Jay-Z thinking that it's totally fine. So I think who we partner with and how we portray ourselves and the image that we put on really does hinder the witness of a Christian. Some people don't think it's that deep. Some people think that when we talk about this sort of thing, we're going too far overboard with it. But I don't think so at all, guys.
Including its CEO, Desiree Perez.
Desiree Perez, a Cuban-American born in the Bronx, New York, became involved in drug distribution activities in the early 1990s. There are allegations out there connecting Perez to the godmother of cocaine, Griselda Blanco, a Colombian drug lord who was prominent in the cocaine-based drug trade and underworld of Miami during the 1970s through the early 2000s. Others say Desiree Perez's connection to the cartels was through OG Juan, a close business associate with Sean Jay-Z Carter. In 1994, Desiree Perez was arrested for conspiracy to distribute narcotics, specifically involving 35 kilograms of cocaine. To avoid a lengthy prison sentence, Perez entered into a plea agreement, receiving 5 years of probation. In 1999, she violated her probation terms and served 9 months in jail. Perez began managing nightclubs in New York City, where she met rapper Jay-Z. She played a pivotal role in the establishment of the 40/40 Club, and later became the CEO of Roc Nation in 2019, and remains the CEO to date.
So this is a clip from Denise D's channel. Marvin Sapp signs with Roc Nation is the title of her video, if you want to go over there and check out the full-length video. But this right there in itself is enough for me to, as a Christian, even if none of the other stuff was said, even if none of the other satanic stuff was going on, that would be a reason enough for me to not partner with this record label. Now, it would be different if Jay-Z was a redeemed Christian. It would be different if this Perez lady was a redeemed Christian. I'm not finna hold somebody's past against them because I got a messed up past too, guys. I ain't no better than any of these people on this screen. But the thing is, though, is as a Christian moving forward, I'm not going to partner with someone that's actively in the street life, or I'm not going to partner with someone who has rejected Christ as their Lord and Savior, right? There's just, and I'm not saying that this woman Perez is still involved in that, but that's what her ties are. And I don't think she's renounced any of that. I don't think she follows Jesus and has repented of any of that. And so why would Marvin Sapp team up with that? Now I'm going to find this portion of this video because I think she covers what Marvin Sapp's response is to this.
Let's get into the comments of Marvin Sapp. He said, more than 30 years into my journey as an artist, every partnership I enter must be rooted in purpose, shared vision, and mutual respect. While Roc Nation distribution is an undeniable force in the music industry, what truly stood out was the openness and collaborative spirit of their leadership team. I'm honored to partner with them and look forward to creating something impactful together as I step into the next chapter of my career.
Now that I've given you all the information, I have 2 questions.
Now, as I said, this is Denise D. I will share her full-length video in the description so you guys can go check out her content and give her a follow. She makes pretty solid content. But the problem that we see here is he's acting like their morals and their beliefs align together, that this collaboration is something that can honor the kingdom of heaven, and it's not. And as you see on the screen right here, one of our questions is, should gospel artists partner with secular entertainment companies? I don't think so, guys. I'm of the same belief that Christian hip hop artists shouldn't collaborate with secular hip hop artists. We see artists like Lecrae that did the collaboration with T.I., and T.I. the following week was blaspheming God. Like, why do you put a man like this? Don't get me wrong, guys. I used to love T.I. T.I.'s music was fire when I was in the streets. But as a Christian, I'm not listening to his music. I don't see the need to be partnering with someone like E40, who's a secular artist that does not honor God. He doesn't follow God. The thing is like, you have Dro, the rapper Dro, that gave his life to Christ. You got Project Pat that gave his life to Christ. Team up with those guys. Now, I do think that Dro was on that song with T.I. and Lecrae, but the issue would be the T.I. collaboration, which, like I said, just a week after that, he was partnering with Darkness. He had CeeLo Green and his son on there, dressed up in demonic garb and just acting all weird. And it's just, why do you give these people your time, knowing that they don't believe the same way that you do, knowing that they'll turn around and they'll blaspheme your Lord and Savior? Jay-Z will turn around and blaspheme God in a moment, but here Marvin Sapp is doing a deal with him. And I just frankly feel like, man, this dude must have sold his soul. And that's just my opinion on it. I don't know his heart. I don't know anything about him other than the bad stuff that's been happening, because I didn't grow up listening to gospel music. I didn't grow up on Marvin Sapp. So I'm not familiar with him for anything positive, at least. So that's just my thoughts on this, guys. What I do know is that we should pray for him, pray that his eyes are open and that money is no longer his God, because if that's the case, there's no telling what happened behind the scenes, guys. Honestly, obviously, all we have to go on is what's told to us in public. And so I do pray that Marvin Sapp will find someone different. Well, I guess the deal's already signed, but the Bible is clear that we should come out from among them and be separate, not go blend in with them and do business deals with them in order for us to try to get notoriety or to push our music out in the mainstream. So that's just my thoughts on this, guys. Let me know what yours are. I'll catch you guys on the next one, though. Until then, God bless.